Hi everyone and welcome to Equity Stories with Inderes. In this video we are going to cover OptiCept as an investment today, together with the CEO Thomas Lundqvist. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you so much.
So to start off, could you please provide a brief overview of OptiCept?
Yeah, absolutely. We work with two business areas. We have one business area for food, and we have one business area for plant technology. And on the food side, we work with a technology called PEF, and that's short for pulse electrical fields. And how we apply it is that we have two Titan plates. Between these two plates, we build a very, very strong electrical field, 10,000 volts. And we pulse electrodes with very, very high frequencies between these two plates. When we do this, and we send some kind of foodstuff between the plates in the field, the membranes of these food cells will react, because the field will disturb the ion balance between the inside and the outside of the cell. And basically, we're programming the cell to release its content. And that could be juice, that could be flavors, that could be nutrients, and whatever is inside, oil, for example. And we apply this technology on olives, on juice, and also on solid foods, because we can soften potato, for example. So that's the food side and the food technology that we work with. Then we also work with plant technology. And there we have a completely different technology. It actually started with combining these two, but at a later stage we found out we don't have to. So on the plant side, we work with vacuum injection. And we apply it on two types of products, cut flowers, and also cuttings. And cuttings is that you take a small piece of a plant and you put it in soil and you let it grow roots. And that's typically how you grow eucalyptus trees on the southern hemisphere, for example. So what we do is we put these pieces of plants into a cylinder where we have a liquid with a nutrient solution. We close the lid, we lower the pressure inside the cylinder. And when we do that, you can actually see when we do it in vases that you have air coming out of the plant. So when we increase the pressure again, this patented liquid goes inside the plant. And in this liquid, you have silica molecules that are attaching various nutrients to them. So once these silica particles are inside the plant, it will slowly release these nutrients into the plant. And that's why we can have a rose last in your vase 3, 4, 5 days longer. And this is also why we can enable a eucalyptus cutting, to root better and faster and survive to a higher degree than without our method.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have several different application areas. Do you focus in one or two, or?
Yes, I mean that's the beauty and the beast of what we're doing. Because I have to do food and then plant. If we go with the food side, you can apply PEF on so much. It actually started off in medical care, treating cancer cells, and you did it in small volumes. But now we can do it up to 10 tons per hour of product, which is really the enabler for us to get big time into the food industry. And of course, you can do it on wine extraction, you can do it on juice extraction, you can do it in beer processing, tea processing, oat milk processing. So we have to focus. And our focus right now is on olive oil extraction, because there we have contracts with the largest growers in the world, and they are looking at this from an extraction perspective, get more oil out of the olives. And we're also working now in pineapple juice production with Dole, where they are evaluating our system for extracting more pineapple juice out of the fruits. Now, on the plant side, we are working mainly with cut roses today, basically because we have most data there. That's where we have done most of the work, and that's a high-value product where we have contract with big companies. We have Dagab in Sweden, for example, using our product. And on cuttings, we are working on eucalyptus, because this is the pine of the southern hemisphere. They grow eucalyptus everywhere, and they are really looking for a product to help them propagate the more difficult cuttings in the field that give a higher yield per square meter.
Yeah. So if we look into your markets a bit, what is like happening in your markets and what drives the need for your products?
There are actually common drivers between the two areas. To start with, it's to do more with less. And again, we can go to olive oil production as an example. If you today input 100 kilograms of olive paste into an olive process, you may get 20 to 25 kilograms of olive oil from that process. If you pre-treat the olive paste with our PEF technology, you may get 5 to 10% more. That corresponds to 1-2 kilograms more of olive oil. And of course, if you can do that with the same input, that extra oil goes straight to the bottom line of the company. So that's a huge driver. But then you also have the sustainability approach. You have to make the products that we take for food consumption and plant consumption last longer. This time I can give you an example from the flower industry. We produce globally 43 billion cut flowers in a year. Most of them we produce in Latin America and Africa. We cut them, we transport them on a truck to an airport. We fly them dry in boxes in cold conditions to Europe, North America. Costs a lot of energy and a lot of money to do that. And then we transport it by truck. And then finally you get it at home, you buy it for your spouse and you enjoy it for 1 to 2, maybe 3 days, and then you have to throw it away. And that's a complete waste, and especially because 20% of these 43 billion, almost 10 billion cut flowers never even reach you. They are wasted along the process. So you have the process efficiency objective and making more money on your process, and you have the sustainability and energy perspective on the other end for both product lines.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's a growing market, or would you say it's more like stable, or is it declining?
No, we're only in the start of it. I mean, as I mentioned, we released our 10-ton product for the food industry last year, and we implemented it on olive oil. Unfortunately, we had a terrible season in Iberica, where we have the installations, because there were basically no olives to process because of the drought. So now it's actually the first time we start them up in real production. We did that a month ago. So they are up and running, producing olive oil right now, which we are really excited about. And we are just in discussions with Dole. If we get good references in olive oil with the big players we have, and with Dole in juice, for example, and with FPS that we're working on with potato, I mean, that's just the starting point, because this technology is new to the industry. And on cut flowers, we're the only one doing this, and we just have, we have a customer here in Scandinavia, hopefully some more to come, but we're really just in the start of this.
Yeah. So, like in the market, like what makes OptiCept stand out, and what are your competitive disadvantages?
What makes us stand out on the food side is there are other players doing PEF on the food side.
Yeah.
We have been focusing a lot on the liquid food, and we're now moving into the solid food. The other guys have been on the solid food. We have some patents on the liquid food that helps us do a very energy efficient treatment and a very even treatment of the food stuff. And on the solid food side, we actually have a patent compressing the potato or carrot that we're treating into a very small chamber. So we're treating only product, not a lot of water, because it takes as much energy to treat water. If you have potato in water, you treat it. The water takes as much energy as actually treating the potato. So we believe we have a very good patent there also. But that's on the food side, and on the other side, we're basically alone. The challenges we have is that we are introducing new technology into conservative markets. It takes time. The food industry is changing, but at a slow pace. The plant industry have done this, how they do roses and cuttings, the same way, probably the last 50 years. So it takes time to work this into the industry, and also it's also challenging to work with seasons, for example, like olives. Now we lost the last season, and basically we lost a year, and now we can restart again, and that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah. You mentioned that you are like alone in some areas, but let's say a bigger player starts to developing products similar to yours. How do you like protect yourself against new competitors?
We have patent protection on our PEF system, but you can do PEF in different ways, right? So there are other players doing PEF on food, and on the plant side we have substitutes. We have a patent, for example, for the cut flowers, but you have substitutes. You can take a cutting and dip it in some rooting hormones that will help you root. But that's luckily for us becoming banned in the Western world because it's not good for your health. It's cancerogenic. So we do our best with patents, and other important things is we look to work with significant partners. That gives us a good protection, like FPS on the potato side. And we try to be quick into the market with the big players so we can set a reference.
Yeah, and speaking of that, if we talk about your strategy, what's like OptiCept's go-to-market strategy look like? You're speaking of partnerships.
Yeah, that is a big part of it. We try ourselves to get contract and interest from the big players in the market in our focused areas, which is olives, now pineapple also, potato, solid food, cuttings and cut roses. There we have ongoing relationships with big companies in the world. So we don't really need more there. But for all the other areas, we are looking for partners really to expand. And with FPS, we basically double the potential for the food side because we don't only do liquid, we do solid also. And what if we can even further enhance the growth, finding similar partnerships in liquid food? That would be fantastic. So that is really how I think we can drive growth and maintain and control our cost. Because as I said, it does take time to let these technologies penetrate the market. So we have to be mindful about our cost. So we have the time we need to push through. Yeah. And that's a very cost-efficient way of doing things also.
Yeah. You're speaking a bit about it, but could you elaborate a bit what are the biggest challenges and risks you need to manage to be successful with your strategy?
I see basically 2 external risks and 1 internal. We have touched on the 2 external ones. Conservative industries. It takes time. We need to make sure we have the time. Second is seasons. Sometimes you take a leap, but then you have to wait for the next season. So that's why I'm very happy we're now hopefully can get into pineapple juice production. We can get into potato production because that's year and around industry. It's not like olives where we started on the food side. So that's very good. On the internal side, it's really the risk of being distracted because you can use these technologies for so much. So we always have to keep our focus on the existing customer relationships and our prioritized areas. And they may change, because if we see we have a really good success, let's say in potato or pineapple or cuttings, we may divert our resources to that area. So we always have to be agile and keep focus on where we're closest to generating some significant cash flows.
As I interpret it, you are producing now in like quite small volumes with good results. But is there any risk that the product will not have the same effect when you like scale up the production to serial production, for example?
You mean in food or?
In food.
It depends. I mean, the most critical factor is the application.
Yeah.
Is it a suitable application? If it is a suitable application, we basically get the same results in the lab with small, very small volumes as when we bring the machine to the customer in high volumes. Challenges we meet when we go to very high volumes is handling very big flows, because we need to have a certain stability in the process. So you have to have an even flow through this electric field. Otherwise, you will not have an even treatment of the product. And that can be challenging sometimes when it comes to big processes. We actually learned a lot about that in the olive industry, where we had these issues initially. We didn't have the right pumps and the buffers to create this even flow. But I think, I think it's quite scalable, actually.
Yeah. So what kind of strategy are you working with in terms of growth versus profitability? And how are you looking to create value for your shareholders?
If we look short term, with the existing customer relationships we have on cut flowers, cuttings, that is going well, potential in pineapple, potential in potato and olives, if we are successful in these areas, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to reach a positive EBITDA in 2024. So that's what we're all gearing up for and planning for right now, pushing super hard, really super hard on these priorities to reach that. Secondly, it's to find potentially new strategic partnerships that can help us grow. And I can explain a little bit about FPS, how that works, because we bring our technology to them and they basically integrate it in their lines. So we will basically use the same technology over and over again for different applications, while they do the selling, installation, they take care of marketing, So it's a very efficient and good way to grow quickly. So I think that is what we're looking for, rather than hiring 100 more people and doing it ourselves.
That sounds great. Thank you very much, Thomas, for joining us today.
Thank you so much.